Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And today we're talking about building a complete bourbon collection for just $200.
Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
Today we're talking about building a complete bourbon collection of available products that have beat out allocated products in blind head-to-heads for us for under $200.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, we tend to like not spending any more money than we have to, so this is a topic that is very near and dear to our hearts, despite our swelling whiskey collection around here.
We do like getting more for less.
Yeah, more for less is always a big win, especially when it's quality. But before we get into that, we got to get into the first sip, which is a segment that we do every Tuesday where we try something that we've never tried before, but it's totally blind. We put things we've never had before in a sample pool, draw it out at random, taste it, give you our honest opinions on it, and you get to see. Some of it's available, some of it's allocated, and we're going to get into this right now to find out whether it's any good or not, regardless of whether it's available or allocated.
All right, let's do it.
Cheers.
This smells like good, solid bourbon.
It does smell like good, solid bourbon, but there's a little bit of funkiness in there to it on the nose for me. Yeah. I can't quite place what it is, but there's just like something in there that's just a smidgy bit off. All your classic bourbon notes. I can't quite place it. I might have to get this one on the palate. Let's go.
It's earthy.
It's got some earthiness, and that earthiness is the funkiness I was picking up on the nose. It's good, whatever it is.
It's good. It splashed me in the face.
It was a little confusing to me at first, just on the nose. I think because it came across like a bourbon with a little bit of funk to it, but not in like a funky, barrely, like Wild Turkey type of way. It came across like a different type of funk that I'm not used to.
I'm just getting a lot of earthiness, almost dirt-like, which I kind of like, so it's not a bad thing for me.
I couldn't quite put my finger on it. You've used that note before, and I've never been able to necessarily place it, but that's what I'm getting right here. Is it almost like it tastes like the color brown. It tastes like somebody dropped an apple in the dirt and then you picked it up and took a bite out of it.
It's not a very nice word picture. I prefer to think after a fresh rain, you smell the dirt.
Yeah, it kind of does have that vibe
it's a
to
better,
it.
It's a better connotation than eating an apple that's been rolling around in dirt.
That's fair.
No offense.
I'm going to need one more sip before we get into our ratings on this. Let's get into it. Yeah, experience-wise, there's not a lot going on. It's fairly simple. It tastes lower proof. It's just kind of the one thing that it is, but it's good for what it is. It's good. I like what's going on.
It's staying in its lane. But it's driving very straight. It's doing a very good job.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's my personal preference. This leans a little bit more towards your side of the equation for what you like. For me, this is something that I am enjoying, although I'm not sure I would buy it again or not. We'll find that out here in a minute. But first, let's get into the nose, flavor, and experience. Where are you at on this glass?
So I think it's going to get thumbs up across the board.
Really?
Good nose. Although the nose was different than the flavor, I still liked the flavor. So it gets a thumbs up on flavor. And then overall experience, it gets a thumbs up. I liked it. It was enjoyable. It didn't, like you said, it doesn't taste super high proof. Which is fine. I can enjoy a lower proof pour. So thumbs up.
For me, I'm going to give it a thumbs up on the nose. Actually, I'm going to give it a just okay on the nose. Because the nose was kind of faint. It wasn't doing a ton for me. I really just picked up on that little bit of funkiness that I couldn't quite put my finger on. Flavors, I will give it a thumbs up. It's not in my typical wheelhouse, but I do enjoy it. Experience, I'm going to give it a just okay. There's not a lot going on there. It's not remarkable really in any way, but it is enjoyable. It doesn't have to be remarkable to be enjoyable.
Correct.
So I can't wait to find out what this is. We'll talk about our consumer side of the equation after that, but let's see what we've been sipping on.
All right.
This is Rebel 100.
Okay. I don't know anything about that.
Oh, wow. So this is 100 proof. A lot of things are making sense now.
Is it a high rye?
No, it's a wheated bourbon.
It's a wheated bourbon. Whoa.
Yeah. Which makes
my mind just blew up.
It's coming. I know.
It does not taste like a wheated bourbon.
It's coming. Well, first off, it doesn't. It's from Heaven Hill. Rebel is from Heaven Hill. Is that right? Are they from Luxco? Where's Rebel from? I don't 100%. I'm confusing myself. Nonetheless, It's a weeded bourbon. It makes sense that it comes across really soft and kind of one note on the palate. It's a very inexpensive pour. I think I picked this bottle up for $19.99 in Kentucky.
Okay.
But it's sitting on shelves all over town all the time. So the price is low. The availability is very high.
Okay.
As a consumer-focused channel like we are around here, where are you at on a product like this? Retail being the price and the availability.
Okay, so the retail, it gets 2 thumbs up for the low price and the availability.
Yeah.
However, would I buy it again or not?
That's our consumer score.
Just okay.
Really?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. But it, like you said, it is kind of a one note.
Yeah.
And that's fine. For 20-ish bucks, I don't expect anything more. But I'm not probably going to reach for it very much, so I probably wouldn't buy it. Like, I might if I was feeling like it.
Yeah. I mean, I would say for 100 proof weeded bourbon with super readily availability at 20 bucks, 2 thumbs up on retail.
Yeah.
Now, would I buy it again or not? I think I'm just okay with you.
Yeah.
It would be fun to have a bottle around to let people try. Yeah. I just don't think it's going to be something I reach for very often, if ever.
Yeah.
It would be very rare.
A typical weeded bourbon flavor profile. So if you want a typical weeded bourbon flavor profile, you won't be getting that with this. So it's like an outside of the box thing, which for $25 or $20-ish is kind of cool. But do you really need an out of the box $20 whiskey? Yeah,
I mean, as weeded bourbons go, it is soft and sweet. So that's kind of the weeded bourbon calling card. But the earthiness that's there,
which I like.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the earthiness of it.
It's not gonna give you, it's not like a replacement for some other like ultra sweet weeded bourbons that are out there that might be more harder to find. But it's worth a try. I would definitely recommend trying this versus like an Ezra Brooks, 90 or 100 proof, whatever you can find, and seeing whether you tend to lean towards more of the weeded profile or the rye based profile in a bourbon.
That's a good way to experiment with it without spending a ton of money too. If you don't know if you like weeded bourbons or rye whiskeys.
Right. It can kind of guide you down a lane. With that said, that's a really good introduction to get into our main topic. But before we do that, we got to talk about the video description below because it has a link to our Patreon over there. And if you like quick sips like this, these little first sips that we do, then we do 2 additional videos every week over on our Patreon page. And they're just like this, except they're completely uncut, so the bloopers are built in. And we also have all kinds of other stuff over there, including our community element over on Discord, our spreadsheet that has a ranking of everything we taste blind here on the channel, and we have our Whiskey with Friends tiers, where we get together on a private patron live stream once a month, and we do blind flight nights. We don't fight over on there. We do blind flight nights once a quarter, where participants get a blind flight hand delivered to your door, and we all hop on a live stream together and we taste through a coordinated blind flight, which is a ton of fun. So check that in the video description below if that sounds of interest to you.
Also, if you want this cool shirt that Josh is wearing, it comes in navy blue and like a heather gray color. Head on over to stuffandwhiskey.com. We've got some merch there. This shirt, amongst other shirts, we have a dad hat, which is super cool. I love it. I like it when you wear the dad hat.
This and the navy dad hat go good together.
Yeah.
And this shirt's so comfy. I forgot I was even wearing a shirt. Like you were like, this shirt. And I'm like, what shirt? Wait, oh yeah, I'm wearing this shirt. So this is a good shirt. I do like this shirt. And we are all about fighting the FOMO around here. The fear of missing out. You don't need to lose your mind to get good whiskey, which is a perfect tie-in to our main topic today, talking about a complete bourbon collection for under $200. Let's get right into it. So the way that we put this together is that if you're going to have a complete collection, you don't need 150 bottles. You don't need 50 bottles. You don't even need 25 bottles. We think you can get by with about 5 bottles, but they need to be versatile. So they need to fit a couple of very specific roles. And the first role is you need to have a go-to sipper, right? You need to have something that you can go to and enjoy regularly that's not going to blow your face off, not going to blow your palate up, not going to leave you messed up for the next day at work. So for that, our easy sipper category, we've got Evan Williams 1783. In particular, you're probably going to see this new 90 proof batch on your shelves. In our market here in Nashville, Tennessee, a lot of stores are selling this between 13 and 15 bucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really good price.
I think it's supposed to be $20.
Okay.
And I alluded to this in the intro to the episode that everything we're putting on this list has beat things that are much more expensive and much more highly allocated. I have put this in blinds up against Elmer T. Lee, and I have yet to pick Elmer T. Lee over this.
Wow. That's a high endorsement.
This is a really good product. People are paying $300 for Elmer T. Lee, a $40 bourbon that is getting beat out by a bottle that we paid $12.99 for. We really like this stuff, but honestly, any 90 proof pour, just start buying 90 proof pours that are in your wheelhouse. Buy a Rebel 100 for that matter.
Yeah.
And try it for $20. Try to stay around that $20, $25 price point.
And 90 to 100 proof probably.
Yeah. Try to stay away from the stuff that's like 10 or 15 bucks. This is kind of an outlier in that it's so cheap in our market. But go a little above the cheap stuff. Get you something that's a little quality around the $20 mark. And then if you've got your everyday kind of go-to sipper, maybe you don't sip every day, but your go-to sipper, what you need, I think, beyond that is you need a really flavorful, good quality mixer, like a cocktail mixer. And you would be very hard pressed to do better than Wild Turkey. Any seasoned watcher of the channel knows that we love us some Wild Turkey.
We do.
And I steer clear of Wild Turkey. We never bought any Wild Turkey products prior to starting doing blind tastings. And it turns out that we actually really enjoy Wild Turkey, and if every other distillery disappeared, we probably wouldn't mind all that much.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole, the benefit of doing blind tastings is that you find out what you really like when you don't know what you're drinking.
Right. But the beauty
this was it for us.
The beauty of Wild Turkey 101 is that it's got a little bit more flavor punch than something like the 1783 from Evan Williams. So it's going to stand up really well in a cocktail, and it's not going to just completely disappear. And it's a good enough product that you could sip it by itself. So could we get a cheaper mixer than a bottle like this that costs about $20 to $25 in our market? Yeah, we could get a cheaper mixer than that. But we don't like to waste money. We like versatility, and we'd rather spend a few bucks more and get something like this that's going to stand up in a cocktail and also be good for neat sipping. So once you've got that stuff nailed down, we kind of like to think, sometimes you just want a sweet treat, right? This is more of my category than Erin's.
Josh has sweet teeth.
Yeah, I have a mouthful of sweet teeth. So sometimes you want something that's really fruity, something that's really sweet. And for that, you'd be hard-pressed to do better than a Four Roses single barrel.
This is really good.
Now,
these are good.
The thing about these that you need to be aware of going into it is that they are single barrels. So every bottle that's from a different barrel is going to be slightly different. Some can be more fruity, some can be more spicy, some can be more oaky, some can be more minty. You're going to get some variety, but if you've got these two nailed down over here, then what this is going to start letting you do is explore some range in the world of bourbon. And these in our market run about $40. They're not over $50 in any market from what we've heard. This is just a straight up 100 proof. And if you get into this or this, and they're a little too spicy for you, throw it over ice, put a little bit of water in it, cut the proof down a little bit, make it a little bit more approachable, and work your way into sipping it more neat. But for us, this has become our kind of replacement product for a lot of the things in the Buffalo Trace family that tend to get sold out really quickly or get charged a premium for. And we can find this on our shelves all the time. So we absolutely love Four Roses single barrel. Alternatively, if you can't get Four Roses single barrel in your market, or you want to spend even less, you want to spend $10 less, and you get Bowman products in your market, look for Bowman Brothers Small Batch.
Okay.
It is very comparable to Buffalo Trace. It actually is Buffalo Trace.
Oh, yeah?
It sells for $30. Buffalo Trace distillate shipped out to the Bowman Distillery in Virginia, ran through their copper pot stills, and then aged in Virginia. We actually do prefer it to Buffalo Trace. It's easier to find. It's cheaper than this, and it's 90 proof. So if you want something that's a little bit more on the low proof point range, check you out a bottle of that. The next category is if you're going to build a complete collection, you need something that's a little bit higher proof, something that's got a good flavor punch.
Okay.
We like our flavorful whiskey around here.
We do.
Value for the money, pound for pound, dollar value champ. It is so hard to beat a Knob Creek 120 proof single barrel.
Yep.
You can get the standard offering. You can get the store pick version if you're in a market that gets store picks. But this stuff always impresses us. Now, if you're a regular watcher of the channel, I know what you're probably thinking. Why is this not rare breed? It's because we have Wild Turkey 101 over here.
Yeah.
You could actually flip-flop these products. You could get Knob Creek 9-year 100 proof and a rare breed over here. But the reason we're doing it this way is because we want you guys to stop buying all the rare breeds so we can get more of it, because we're tired of going to the store and seeing it not on the shelf. So
that's so true.
Just being honest. But yeah, this stuff is so good. Like, Knob Creek holds a near and dear place to our hearts. Yeah. You get so much range, but there's never anything that's particularly off-putting. The worst case scenario with one of these bottles is you're going to get something that comes across a little hot when you first open it. Add a little water, throw it over some ice. We found that once you get down, it chills out a little bit. And some of these are just so good that they're better than whiskeys 2 or 3 times their price. Like, value for the money is off the charts with this product. And then the last category is that, you've got your bases covered really with these 4. Yeah, you could just end here.
You could be done and solid, yeah.
But sometimes you want a special occasion bottle. And while this is a beautiful bottle, these other 3, they got faces only a mother could love, to be honest. Like, they're not impressing anybody if you pull them out at a party or if you have guests over or anything like that. So sometimes you want to zhuzh it up a little bit, right? Is that what you say?
Yeah,
zhuzh. So sometimes you need something that looks a little better and that is maybe a little bit more approachable than this. Although I would wager that this fits the bill.
Yeah, but if you want to stop it here, the 4 Roses would fit that bill.
But let's say you're somebody that's like, I really want a bottle of Blanton's, but you can't find Blanton's, or it's marked up crazy high and you don't want to pay it. We have put Blade and Bow up against Blanton's so many times, and we have been made aware through this channel that this is not available in every market. So that's a bit of a bummer, but this is a very good comparable replacement for Blanton's. We've blinded them multiple times. It's honestly a flip of the coin. They're ever so slightly different. Depending on the Blanton's. I mean, it's same price or less price now. Blanton's is getting marked up and up and up. Yeah. So this is $50 and you can't beat it, and it's a good product. It's got a story to it. It comes with a little key that we took off because it's rattling all the time.
Yeah, but it is a little charm, just like the Blanton's top is kind of a little collectible thing.
And you can impress somebody with this. If they don't know anything about whiskey, you can impress somebody with this. If you're dealing with somebody that does know something about whiskey, probably skip this one and go for something more along the lines of a Bardstown Fusion series. $60. Again, kind of lockstep in that 90-ish proof point. This is like 95, 94.9, right there with Blanton's. Beautiful bottle. I mean, look at this thing. They do gorgeous work.
Bardstown does good work.
It's a little bit more of a whiskey nerd choice, but they're really good. And then I would also include an Old Forester 1910 in here for $50 or $60. And I would have included that, but we drank all of ours and we haven't bought a backup
yet. We finished it, so we don't have a bottle to show.
It's that good. So if you're dealing with somebody that has a real sweet tooth and they really, really like sweet stuff, insert Old Forester 1910 right here and add it to the special pours list. And you can get all of these for $200. Area depending. This might be a little more, this might be a little more, this might be a little less. It kind of shifts. You might not be able to get one of either of these, but take your pick here and then add these other 4 to it. And you can have a 5-bottle collection for $200 or about,
and it's full,
out the door.
Well-rounded collection.
It is. Now, I'm going to press you a little bit and ask you to spend a little bit more, which I typically don't like doing. But I think if you're building a beginner bourbon collection, you're set, but you need a beginner rye if you've not ventured into those waters before. And I looked at Erin.
Agree.
I looked at Erin because she's the rye guy of the channel.
Yes.
And I know that this is a category that's near and dear to her heart. And her go-to is Bullet Rye.
Yes.
For $25 in our market. I think it's a great choice. And it does highlight the rye grain very well. But the reason I'm going to recommend my choice here,
that is also a really good choice,
is Rittenhouse, because I think this is more approachable for the bourbon drinker. And you're probably watching this because you want a bourbon collection. And this is more a rye for the bourbon drinker than Bullet.
100% agree.
Which is why we agreed to put this in here. Otherwise, she would have fought me and I would have lost and Bullet would have been in this spot.
No, but that's a very approachable bourbon drinker's rye. If you want to dabble in rye and start that collection, that's a good one to start with.
And start mixing this. Like we said, this was a mixer. Mix a cocktail with this and this. For you and significant other, a friend, whatever, try them. See what you think about the Wild Turkey versus the Rittenhouse. And you might find that you like the cocktail that's mixed with the rye a little bit more than the cocktail that's mixed with the bourbon. And that will be an enlightening experience for you. You'll glean something from that. And it can inform you as you go down your journey into bourbon and other whiskeys as well. So this will give you a really good, solid starting point. And like I said, all these products have beat much more expensive allocated products in blind head-to-heads for us.
So that's it for this week. What's our other stuff?
So if you're new and you're looking to put together a bourbon collection, you might be looking for more bourbon info, and we're going to send you to the podcast world. There's a ton of YouTube channels out there that have a ton of good info, and we would absolutely recommend that you look around for other videos that are very similar to this.
And if you're watching us, you probably get recommendations on the side there from YouTube, so check those out.
Check those out for sure. There's so many good channels. But I'm going to steer you towards the Bourbon Pursuit podcast if you're a podcast person. So Kenny and Ryan over there they are the podcast of bourbon. They're the OGs, the stalwarts, and they get Fred Minnick on there, and they get other guests on there, and there's just a ton of good info, and you can learn so much if you just tune into that one podcast. So check the video description below. We'll put a link down there to their podcast over on iTunes. If you're on Google, check it out on whatever Google does, the marketplace or Spotify, the App Store, whatever.
Any podcast platform will have it.
They're literally on everything because they're the biggest podcast that there is in bourbon.
So that's it. If you guys want to go ahead and comment below on what your beginner bourbon collection would be, I'd be interested in seeing that. And
what constitutes a complete collection to you for a beginner bourbon person?
Yep. And until next week.
Yeah. Let me reach up here and grab my glass and say cheers. Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And today we're talking about building a complete collection of available and inexpensive bottles for just $200. I didn't say bourbon, did I?
Nope. Just a collection.
Collection of what, sir?
Anything. Right.